my name is Sydney and I am one of the clinical psychology doctoral students. I work in the SPARTA research lab under Dr. Lisa Cromer. So our lab's biggest work is the prevention and treatment of trauma, and we have a few different avenues for this. So one of those is our RCT, our randomized clinical trial, which looks at children experiencing nightmares. And these nightmares might be caused by nothing or might be due to something that happened in the child's life. So our research has had some really interesting and promising results, and we're looking at specifically if reducing nightmares might reduce other mental health difficulties like even suicidality. Our lab also does a lot of work in the field of historical trauma and historical trauma theory. This is a big area of interest for Dr. Cromer and a few of our grad and undergrad students. So this is the space where it all happens, and let's take a tour of the lab.
So you're going to see some rooms. These are where our graduate students and undergrad students work. In this lab, we really value a collaborative environment, and we want to make sure that everyone is set up for success. You'll also see our conference room and common area where we host our weekly lab meetings. So these typically are for the grad students for an hour, and then the undergrads come and join us for another hour. And this is just to catch up on our individual projects, check in on progress, or ask any questions about our clinical trial. Let's meet some of our team members and hear about their favorite parts of the lab.
Hello everyone, my name is Lauren. I am a graduate student in the SPARTA lab. My favorite part about the lab is being able to work on a clinical trial. I came into the lab knowing that I wanted to learn all I could about clinical work as well as research, and so being able to see what a clinical trial looks like is really cool, and being able to do the clinical work on top of that is super helpful. I was trained as an assessor by the end of my first semester and fully trained as a therapist by the end of my second year. And so that has given me a lot of opportunities to just grow as a clinician, all within the context of the lab and with my fellow lab members, which is really exciting.
Hi, my name is Tori Horton. I'm a second year in the master's program here at the University of Tulsa. My favorite thing about the SPARTA lab would have to be the people that we get to work with every day. Everybody comes from different backgrounds, from different places, and so I just think it's really interesting to be able to work with, collaborate, and just hear from everybody and listen to their different experiences. Another thing that's really great about the SPARTA lab is that a lot of people in our lab are interested in historical trauma. And so we get to discuss and talk about historical trauma through the lens of the different backgrounds that the members of our lab come from. So for example, we get to talk about it from Palestinian, Chamorro, American Indian, and Jewish backgrounds. And so it's really interesting to be able to come together and talk about a topic that everybody is interested in through the lens of all these different perspectives.
Hi, it's me again. I would say my favorite part of the lab is absolutely the people. My fellow lab mates are just so incredible, and I've learned so much from them already and have really been key in getting me situated in the program and even in Tulsa.
It is a bright, sunny morning in Tulsa, Oklahoma. My name is Dr. Lisa Cromer. I am a full professor in the psychology department at the University of Tulsa. And I am recruiting a student for the fall 2025 season. So probably the most important question you're wondering about is, what am I recruiting a student for? I am looking for someone to either work on research related to child nightmare treatment. I have a neat nightmare treatment called cognitive behavioral therapy for nightmares in children. Currently in the lab, we're running a clinical trial looking at whether when we improve nightmares in kids, do we also see an improvement in other psychological symptoms. Particularly, we're interested in whether we see an improvement in suicide. A very small pilot study that we did showed that our treatment group improved on suicidality, whereas our waitlist group did not. So we're looking at this very important question for children ages 7 to 17. We have a couple of students starting to study cultural idioms of nightmares. And so I'm very interested in a student who would be curious about exploring cultural adaptations of the nightmare treatment, and I'm completely open to what that would mean to them, including that could be language or anything related to culture, ethnicity, gender identity, religion. Somebody is actually looking at cultural idioms of nightmares in Islam right now. So that's one area of research. The other area of research is historical trauma. I have a couple students who have been working on dissertations related to historical trauma. And again, I'm interested in people who are wanting to take a theory of historical trauma and apply it to a particular population. So my guidance will be around theories and understanding historical trauma, and then you would do the deeper dive into its application within a particular population, preferably a population that you have some personal connection to. I think it's really important that we are working within communities. And so my preference is not for somebody who wants to study a community that they or their family is not a part of. All right, well, that's it. So I hope that people will include in their essays and their statements of interest at least a paragraph description of what you personally would be interested in. That really helps me. If you just make a general reference that you're interested in one of those topics, that's a little bit helpful. But in terms of really kind of getting a sense of who is a really good fit, I'd love to know what kinds of research questions you're interested in. So please keep that in mind as you are writing your statement of interest. Thanks. Bye.